is just fantastic.
Captain's Log, Subdate 210311.5, neuralized, rebuilt, reprogrammed, and now back to full duties. Crewman Bork is now ready to talk to Subfleet about me. Mwahahaha. With all the hassle, if only to make this Ferengi's life suffer just a little bit more. Welcome everyone to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we have 4 subjects and 1 honourable mention to go through. To the honourable mention we go to Matthew Green. This is Matthew Green. Isn't he a happy looking chappy? Well, he's also a bit on the vindictive side, because, well, a couple pulled out of buying 2 properties from him due to delays and rising costs. He had then found out that same couple had found a cottage they were really fond of in Norfolk. So he tried to undercut them to purchase the property from them before they got it. The owner said no. They got the property, he torched it, which meant they lost their £32,500 deposit. Nice. He was given a 12-month suspended sentence, ordered to pay $9 grand for damaged cause, complete 180 hours of unpaid work, and a 20-day rehabilitation program. Oh, and yes, he did in fact get slapped with a restraining order. All that because he couldn't sell them 2 properties. Well, that's a big yikes, isn't it? So to the first subject, we go to Faiz Siddiqui. If I've mispronounced his name, I don't care. He is a 41-year-old man who lives in London. He is an unemployed Oxford law graduate. He gets a £400 plus allowance from his parents who live in Dubai. And the apartment he resides in cost over £1 million and they own it. Oh, and he's been unemployed for a decade due to, air quotes, various health issues. In 2018, Faiz sued Oxford University for £1 million. He sued them because what he believed was bad teaching, boring tuition, and because of the staff he took an extended sabbatical leave, which led to him only getting a 2-1 instead of the first-class degree he wanted, which in turn cost him a place on a law course at a top US Ivy League university, like Yale or Harvard. Why on earth you'd want to go there when you were at Oxford is a mystery to me. Arguably, Oxford is better. Now, he claimed this was all down to loss of earnings against the Chancellor, Masters and Scholars of the university. That's how he came to the fee of £1 million. For the sake of it, it was thrown out, because the tuition was of a perfectly adequate standard. But this isn't where the story ends for Faiz. No. You see, his parents want to reduce his £400 allowance, which by the way does not include bills, because the parents believe their son to be difficult, demanding and pertinacious. He has decided to sue his parents to get a maintenance grant for life. This is the epitome of entitlement. You are a 41-year-old bum. You believe yourself better than everyone else, so you won't get certain types of jobs. Allow me to help you by telling you what you should do next. Look in the mirror and practice the following phrase. Excuse me, sir, would you like fries with that? And then what you do, Siddiqui, is you work your way up. You entitled brat. Middle-aged brat at that. You're a middle-aged brat prat. You should be ashamed of yourself. Your parents should just cut you off, which is what I think they'll do when this is thrown out, because you're suing your parents for money. You're pathetic. So to move on from that, let's go into the world of music, an area I am quite fond of. And for this, we're going to need one of my favourite guitarists. I have one of his SIGs. I want to change the pickups from quantums to evolutions, if I can find a pair set even that doesn't fizz. Yeah. The guitarist in question is called Steve Vai, a maestro, a composer, a legend of immense talent who last year received a considerable amount of acclaim after a song he put out called Candle Power featured in it not only him not using a pick, but a new technique called a double bend. If you're not distracted by his guitar play, Look at the walls around him. There are so many guitars. Now, if you could do me a solid and make one in pink, I'd be really happy. Because as a lefty, we only get a white gem. I'd like a pink gem, because pink is manly. Also, I really want to see him live, so with what we're about to discuss, do get better when the pandemic's over. Kindly come to the UK. I'd really appreciate it. Steve Vai won't be able to play his guitar for a while, because Steve Vai did an oopsie. What happened was, he, and this is a quote, held a tricky chord for a really long time. He was meditating on it and knew it was a hard position, so he just kept sitting there and playing it and playing it and playing it. 20 minutes later, he was in pain. He won't tell you what the chord was, but never mind. What he developed because of it was trigger finger. Trigger finger is where your hand uncontrollably spasms, which does sometimes require an operation, which for Steve Vai, yes, he did in fact have to have an operation, so he won't be playing his guitar for a while. Or if he does, it will be just with one hand, kind of like Michelangelo Batio, where he just finger taps it on a fretboard, by doing it with both hands on two guitars that are fused together, which looks nuts. It really does. I'm not, by the way, going to mock Steve Vai too much, because Steve Vai is guitar god, but I did want to point and laugh and say, might I suggest, instead of mixing the two up, meditation and guitar playing, you do one and then the other. We men can't multitask, remember? Oh, and you should all go check him out on Spotify. His music is amazing. What he can do with the guitar just makes the rest of us look like chumps. To stay in the theme of music, I now want to move on to the singer for Maroon 5. Now, of course, many of you will say, that is Maroon 5 because the rest of the band members are who? And you're right, here's a picture of the band. If you are now wondering where are the band members, they are painted into the background to shine a light on the front man, who usually is the face of the band. But in this case, let's face it, Maroon 5 is just this douche. Thanks for telling us you're in California, you hipster. Recently he gave an interview to Zane Lowe on Apple Music. I personally have not listened to this, because I don't listen to Crapple, but the quote reads as follows. It's funny, when the first Maroon 5 album came out, there were still other bands. I feel like there aren't any bands anymore, you know? That's the thing that makes me kind of sad. There's no bands anymore and I feel like they're a dying breed. But he then concedes there are still bands that exist, that aren't in the limelight, and that he wishes there could be more of those around. Which, when many heard of it, understandably, reductio ad absurdum came into effect. I myself was half tempted to just tag every band I knew that had limelight of some kind, because in his arrogance, he has forgotten something. He is speaking globally on a very much American stage. In America, your point might hold some merit, maybe, when really it doesn't. He is literally just being an arrogant fudge, and it's quite amusing. If he took that same mentality to other countries, it still wouldn't stack up. It really does depend. Many people did in fact point this out, on top of telling him, perhaps you should stop listening to your own music on Spotify, and that Maroon 5 is just used for marketing and contract obligations for the singer. King douche. You have to be something quite special to think about yourself in such an arrogant light. It tells me actually, if anything, you are officially a rock star, aren't you? Congratulations, you arrogant prick. To our final subject, we're going to go to Alec Baldwin. So no, not music. Many of you know him from SNL and 30 Rock, and I think his marriage to Kim something. Yes. And more recently because his wife fakes an accent, because she's not really what she says she is, and she had to apologise for it. On Twitter, he has quit the platform 4 times, in 2011, 2012, 2014 and 2017. It's now 5, because he mocked Gillian Anderson for switching her accents. Thing with her is, while born in Chicago, raised in London and America, she can actually switch her accents because she's well within her right to. And because of the environment she was raised in, it's not overly complicated for her to do so. And also, she doesn't put on a cliche English accent of Cockney, much like your wife putting on a cliche maid accent. which sounds a bit racist, but you really do need to hear the accent. It's quite funny. He quit it because he criticised her, and he decided to announce this in a 10-minute video on Instagram. Here's a clip of the video.
Hey everybody. Driving home from work. Wanted to post a quick video to say that I deactivated my Twitter account today. I found myself writing a little mention. I don't want to drag other people into my debates or what have you, but I noticed that someone said, oh, that this actress, who I won't mention, had switched accents during the press for her show from her accent from another country to an American accent. And I just wrote, oh, that's interesting. And of course, you can't do any irony on Twitter. You can't do any irony in the United States anymore, because the United States is such a uptight, stressed out place, and such a unpleasant place right now. But I wanted to say that the person I was referring to was somebody I am a huge fan of, huge fan of. And that comment was meant to just illustrate the point that I find, as I said, that the multicultural expressions of anyone, for that matter, whatever whatever country, language, music, food, clothing, art, any of it, whatever of those expressions are important to you, that's your business,
You are a Deaf Noodles. Except instead of blocking people, you just quit, which was the step that Deaf Noodles could have taken when Carvos annihilated him over a year ago. Congratulations. You are precious. As we're done here, I'd like to know what you all think. Please do let me know in the comments down below. As a final thing, I shall be streaming Murder Fun Time on Twitch tonight. If you're interested, it will be linked. If I don't see you there, have a fantastic day, and thank you all for listening.